Dalton is the starter. Andy Dalton is still the QB1. Take a listen to this.
Andy is the starter. Andy's going to get the 1 reps. And what we're telling Justin and Nick to do is make sure that they're doing everything they can to try to be that guy.
All right, well, the Bears got the Super Bowl champs on the schedule week 7. So, LeVar, will Justin Fields' first start be before or after week 7?
Well, since we're basing this off of betting, if you're a bettor, you better take the under on this one. Justin Fields is primed to have a studly, yes, I said it, bold prediction, a studly rookie season. It will be well before week 7. Nothing more else from me. I don't even need to add any more. Coach, you got it.
Yeah, look, I 100% agree with you in the sense that he's gonna start before week 7. I'm not sure how he's going to perform. I don't even know if it matters how well he performs early on. They're going to look for every possible reason to start him, to play him, to get him in, because they're under a significant amount of pressure. And when they signed Andy Dalton, they signed him because he was the best available at the time. Then they fell into Justin Fields during the draft, and now they're gonna make sure that they push him to start as quickly as they can. There's no doubt in my mind that he plays early.
Well, and they didn't just fall into Justin Fields, to build on Coach's point. They targeted him. They moved up. They got Dave Gettleman to trade back, which is something he had never wanted to do. It's why they traded a future first-round pick, which could be super valuable, to get Justin Fields. So I agree before. If we can show the schedule again, I think the odds are Justin Fields starts week 1. But the latest he would start is week 4. If they're looking at the first few weeks and like, man, the Rams have a great D-line, the Browns have a great D-line, but then once you get the Lions and the Raiders and the Packers, some softer defenses, the absolute latest he would start is week 4. A little bit of a bad beat for Justin if in his first career start, he has some kneecaps eaten by the fighting Dan Campbells in Detroit, but he'll be all right. He'll be able to handle it. But it definitely before week 7.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the off-the-board pick and say I like him starting week 7 against the Bucs. And I know you might say, like, uh-oh, the same Bucs defense that tortured poor Patrick Mahomes. Remember that, Nick? Oh, my gosh, he's getting slammed on the ground, running around. Ndamukong Suh punches him in the helmet, no penalty. What's going on here? But I like week 7 for this reason. One, I think Justin Fields went from being the number 2 quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence to kind of having a little crisis of confidence now that he fell. So I think starting him against Tom Brady would be a big confidence boost. Same as we saw Taylor Heineke play well against the Bucs. And when did we see Justin Herbert? We saw him on accident after a horrible mishap play against the Chiefs. And he played okay. They lost the game, but it gave him the confidence and propelled him to a great year. So I think starting against the Bucs, if you win, you win, and if you lose and play okay, you still win.
Yeah, I just don't think it's about the schedule. I don't think that's the factor here. I think that they want him in. They want him in as quickly as possible. During the preseason, they're going to find every reason to promote him. There's just too much pressure on the head coach. There's too much pressure on the organization to play him. So if he makes a few exciting plays, they're pushing him forward. And look, those defensive lines are good and can cause problems, but this is also a guy that can help alleviate some of that pressure because he can make plays with his feet.
All right, let's head out west to San Francisco, where Trey Lance is learning the ins and outs of Kyle Shanahan's offense. Niners GM John Lynch joined Colin yesterday on The Herd and was asked about when Trey will be inserted as the starter. Listen to this.
That will be Kyle's decision. He's the coach of this football team. And, let it kind of play out. But I think the reassuring thing is that we don't have to rush Trey.
All right, so here's a look at the Niners schedule. They host their division rival Rams in Week 10. LeVar, will Trey Lance start before or after Week 10 for San Francisco?
Originally I wanted to say after because I really listen to what John Lynch says and I really look at what they're planning on doing in my assessment of Trey Lance. I felt like he might not play that much at all this year. But then I started thinking about, well, Garoppolo generally has not stayed healthy. And to think, the 1 year that he stayed healthy, they went to the Super Bowl. Every other year, I mean, even when he filled in for Tom Brady in his suspension year,
he got hurt.
He made 2 out of 4 games. He's so injury prone. It would be, I guess, not wise of me in giving you guys that are betting out there the real insight on this, which is, yes, he will start a game or two based upon the injury situation, the health situation of one Jimmy Garoppolo. So, yeah, he will.
Yeah, I think you do have to look at it not when he is going to start, but what are the odds out of Vegas on when Jimmy's going to get hurt? And that might be a better line to follow to correlate these two. But even with that being said, I could see them using the way that they used Colin when Colin was first there, where there's a package of plays for him. He goes in and changes the tempo of the game. He is so dangerous as a runner. Those quarterback-driven runs and that package that they can produce that's so different than what Jimmy does, to me, is a way to play him and to play him in each game during the early part of the season. Then if he goes in and makes a bunch of exciting plays, I can see that getting transitioned to him being the full-time starter. Look, even when Jimmy went to the Super Bowl, they did everything they could to not let him pass. And there's no quarterback there's no head coach that wants to sit back and feel like he's got to limit the package for the quarterback.
Gotcha.
So if he can make those exciting plays, they're going to push him.
I'm gonna give Jimmy Garoppolo the benefit of the doubt on health, even though his history says I shouldn't. So let's just assume Jimmy Garoppolo's healthy. I'm going to say after, because I do think that even if he's healthy, he's going to lose his job because Trey Lance is going to give them the better option. I don't know if we can show the schedule, but I think we can pinpoint a time that would make a lot of sense for them to make the transition. Week 10 is when they play the Rams, and the question is before or after Week 10. I think it'll be right after. I think that going into that week, after that, they'll lose that Week 10 game. I think they'll be a good but not great team, and then they'll say, wait, the Jags, the Vikings, Seahawks are good but not a great defense. The Bengals, the Falcons, Titans, Texans. You don't play a great defense again until Week 18. That's when I would want to get Trey Lance involved. So I would say Week 11 with the belief maybe he can go on a bit of a run against some soft defenses. We can, win some games by running and playing good defense ourselves and feel really good going into the playoffs. So I'm going to say after Wilds, but barely. I think Week 11 against the Jags, and you get Lawrence against Lance, 1 versus 3 from the draft on television.
Yeah, you have 4 quarterbacks in that game. You have Jimmy G and Trey Lance coming in a little bit, and then Trevor Lawrence and Tim Tebow coming in a little bit. It'd be like, holy cow. Set your fantasy football schedules accordingly.
Hey, Coach, question for you, because I actually like Nick's answer about Week 11. Do you think